Okay, so here is Maravich, and Maravich is a really beautiful, well-bred 16 one-hand, 5-year-old thoroughbred gelding by Into Mischief, and he's out of a Medaglia d'Oro mare, so super, super lovely pedigree on this horse. And as evidenced by that, this horse is actually sold twice for a bunch of money. First, he sold for $375,000, and then as a yearling, he sold for $600,000 yearling. So, net combined, he has sold for nearly $1 million, which is just always blows my mind how much money people spend on racehorses. So he then unfortunately went on to run only, well, I shouldn't say only 19 times. That's a perfectly suitable career for a racehorse, but he made, I want to say if I'm saying things correctly, he made $13,000 over those 19 starts. So not quite the investment that you're hoping to make at the end of the day. So with that race record, here he is. He actually just ran on April 6th, so he's literally, a week post his last start. And I think Billy picked him up like the day or two after he last ran. So he is just right off the track. And this is a really lovely, athletic uphill horse. And huge apologies if you can hear my basset hound who's crying in the background. Actually, I'm going to pause for 1 second. So this ride is the second time I've sat on him. I also sat on him the day before, and sort of as what goes along with any of these sort of more athletic, uphill, talented type horses is, he's got a little bit of, well, he, first of all, this doesn't necessarily have to do with that, but he's a little bit distracted still. When they come out to my ring, which they only can see everything that's visible from the ring when they're actually out there. So in the barn and their paddocks, they don't get this view of the road and all the things that are happening across the street or the cars going by and the traffic and everything. So that always sort of gets them a little bit more alert. And so you'll see here we're having conversations about he wants to just put up his head and look around. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I sort of need to get him on my wavelength and listening to me and trying to get him to be a little rounder and softer and relaxed over his top line. And actually, here is when I finally truly got that, right? This is the sort of the roundness that I want to achieve, walk, drop, canter in both directions. He sort of, after we did some work to the left, he took a breath in our walk break when we started going to the right. And this is the softness. And here he's wanting to start stretching a little bit. So this is what I'm going for in all gaits, both directions. But of course, you have to start with small steps. So I was just thrilled that he sort of opened this window at all for me today. So we sort of got a glimpse of like, okay, this is what's going to come at some point in the not too distant future. I will have access to him like that all the time. This is just his second post-track ride. He's 1 week out of his last start. We don't expect that to be there every second right from the beginning. That's what the training does. So actually, he finds the left easier than the right at the moment, which is totally, the normal case for most of these guys when they're right off the track. But as we worked, he relaxed more and more and became softer over his top line more and more. So for whatever reason, I just have more video to the right. Well, because of that, and also somehow to the left, I don't know, we did do a true canter to the left, but I couldn't find the video of it, so I'm not exactly sure why. So next time I'll make sure that we definitely get video of him cantering to the left because it's actually quite spectacular. The canter is just super uphill and balanced and is a great feel for somebody wanting an athletic type horse. So to the right, he's just a little bit more crooked. The right bend's not coming quite as naturally right now, which is why I'm working him on the 20-meter circle. At first, when we started cantering to the right, we were tracking to the right, but he was wanting to keep picking up the left lead. And at this point, worrying about his leads is we're not even there yet. I just need him to learn to bend to the right first. So we actually worked tracking right on the counter canter for a little bit. I think I did leave a circle or two of that in here. And that was actually super helpful because he figured out on his own that actually this is so much easier if you just pick up the true lead. So then he swapped into the right lead canter. And then we could actually work the true right lead canter going to the right and staying on the circle just sort of helped him so much to start to understand the right bends. Because like so many of these horses, at first when you're tracking to the right, he wants to push his haunches to the inside and fall to the outside with his shoulders. So working on the circle really helps to sort of regulate that so I can do less and just let the shape help me as much as possible. And so after we did that canter work, he actually gave me some really nice trot work. And so here he's giving me some moments right here. I'm loving the shape and frame. Then here we lose it for a moment. He gets distracted by something. And now I'm on a little bit of a longer rein because he is giving me some of those little bit stretchy moments. So when he pops up to distraction or whatever it is, it takes me a second to correct it because I'm on the longer rein. But like here again, this is a beautiful shape. He's giving in those moments, he's giving me his whole brain. He's relaxing across his top line. He's starting to use his back. And it's just it's a beautiful feeling when he's in those moments. And so, of course, as he progresses post track, those moments will become longer and longer until you're in those the majority of the time. He is very wonderful to work with on the ground. This is me touching up his body clip. So this is day 2 of clipping. He came in with just some awful skin funk. I have had just the worst cases of skin funk this winter I can remember ever having. So many of these horses coming in with just terrible scratches and fungus and whatever it is. So he had to immediately get body clipped to aid in the healing of that. Now that he is clipped, and he was excellent for clipping, it's healing right up in another week or two. It will just be a thing of the past. But it is really painful for these guys to get clipped through that funk, and he was really kind about it. So obviously he stands super well on cross ties. He's great for clipping. He's great for mane pulling, bathing, all that. This is him after his ride the other day. Likes to drink from the hose. Sometimes he'll make, like in his stall or in his small paddock, that's his private space. He'll make some grumpy faces at you there. But as soon as you get him out of that private space and into like a public space, like cross ties, or if you're leading or in the ring or what have you, he always has a happy expression on his face. And he's a very kind horse. Loves peppermints and treats also. So that's always helpful. He is sensitive over his skin funk right now, as you would expect. So he doesn't love that being messed with because that's quite painful, but I think that's very understandable.